Yes, good afternoon, our dear viewers. This is Mercy Chigundu for the Talk to Me show on City TV. I do thank you for subscribing to our channel, for following all our shows on City TV. And I remind those that have not yet subscribed that we are still open for you. We offer a lot of entertainment, current affairs, and very many other things. And today with me, I have someone that I'm yet to introduce to you. But before that, I'd like to wish you a happy Martyrs Day. I hope you made it to church. For those that didn't make it, next time better. And please remember to observe the SOPs wherever you are. Yes, sir. You're welcome to our show.
Thank you so much, Mercy.
Yes. Can you please introduce yourself to our viewers out there?
Our viewers of our loved City TV, I want to take the opportunity to greet you in the spirit of Martyrs Day today.
You know, the spirit.
Also to wish you the best, to commend and thank the organizers and the managers of City TV for inviting me, for identifying me. Among all the people, you could identify me. Who is me? I'm just Mia Kayemba, a villager in Matgand and Iganga there, and you could really identify me. I'm really excited about that. And my name is Kayemba Patrick Gavamukulia. I am just the outgoing chairperson of Iganga District Local Government, but I'm also the Vice President of Uganda Local Governments Association, WULGA, representing the Eastern region. That's from Jinja to Patakwi. And I'm excited to be part of this team.
Yes, Patrick.
And part of this discussion.
You're most welcome.
And I hope that I can be of value, and I can add value to my country, and also add value to City TV.
Thanks for honoring my invite, Patrick.
You're welcome.
Yes, dear viewers, like I said, happy Martyrs Day. Once again, we are here with Patrick, who is yet to share with us more about what he thinks about Martyrs Day. Yeah, but before we get to that, we would like to caution the public, first of all, regarding COVID. I still emphasize this, COVID is real. Please observe the SOPs wherever you are, even at home. I know you will receive visitors occasionally, friends and family members and all that. Yes, and I would also like to send my sympathies to General Katumba Wamala's family. Very sorry, it's a pity for what happened to you, for losing your daughter at that age. That was very sad. Yes, and many other Ugandans out there who have lost their loved ones, relatives, friends, and all that. We feel for you, we grieve with you in every kind of way. We may not reach you because of unavoidable circumstances, but just know wherever you are, we send our prayers to you. We are with you. And for the people on social media that are criticizing a person that is going through such grief, that is so gross. Let's look at ourselves within our hearts before you judge him for whatever you think he may have done. Think of, put yourself in his shoes. Think about what he could be going through. Losing a kid at 32, that is so gross. You've shared almost an entire lifetime with this child. So let's grieve together with him. I believe our side of Uganda to morning wamu naye to tukungubagire wamu naye ekifo ky'okubeera wate tumusekerere because of politics, because before politics we are human. Ngibira tebinajja byonna tubisanga wano ku nsi. Yes, Patrick.
Just to make a comment about that, I also feel a little uncomfortable because let me inform viewers. Personalities are different in different scenarios. You can judge me as a chairperson of the district.
Yes.
You can also judge me as a mother or a father.
Or as Patrick.
Or a husband.
Yes.
You judge me as a business person. So we have different scenarios of judgment. I might only appeal to the viewers is that we need to educate our people that we are Africans.
Yes.
As an African culture, when somebody loses a relative, loses a child,
you have to loses a
wife, or goes through such danger, you definitely have to show empathy. Some bit of empathy.
Yes, you have to empathize with them. Yes.
And by the way, leaving that alone, General Katumba when you look at him as a character of General Katumba, you see him while he was a commander, an IGP in police. You know, he organized the police. And you know, everybody was saying, no, he shouldn't leave.
Yes, I wouldn't even like to get into his years of service.
No, but even then,
but
his
then
personality,
as a father, like you've just said, yes.
You know, he has a private life. The private life in church, the private
as a
life
family
in
man,
friends, as a family man,
as a father, as a husband,
as a friend.
Yeah, so please people out there, our viewers of City TV, pass on this message to whoever is, you know,
the agenda of the
preaching
day,
this gospel. Yes, it's really heartless of us.
But also, most importantly, the incident that is happening. Today it is happening on General Katumba. But tomorrow it is going to happen on that one that you love most. Because the trend of things at the moment that you will never know. Because you can imagine this security guy who was gunned down, you know. You can also imagine this person in
nobody calls for it.
Exactly, in
so it's like
we also condemn such acts that are going on in this country.
When did we lose the values? Like you've talked about our cultures, African.
Exactly.
We never made fun of them, even if we knew the person was a thief, a thug, and the person, you're not allowed to say anything bad about them. But here's a man who has lost his daughter. He has witnessed the death of his daughter in such a cruel way. So we shouldn't make fun. Please pass on the message, City TV viewers. Yes, Patrick, once again, you most welcome to Tanzania.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
That bring us such sadness.
So there is no way you can just jump out of it. So
Patrick, can you tell our viewers of City TV what you do once again? Yes, what you're doing right now, what you were doing before. Just briefly take us through it.
Patrick is a father of many children.
Many?
Yes.
How many?
Many.
Just many.
You know, in my culture, we're not allowed to number children. You know?
Okay.
I'm also a civil society activist. You know, I work for civil society, for NGOs. That has been for the rest of my life. I've been working with civil society. I've been fighting corruption. Patrick is also an activist.
So you're not corrupt yourself?
Very least corrupt.
But you're just a little bit, eh?
Of course, you cannot rule out.
Thanks for being honest.
Because my definition of corruption, you just cannot rule out.
It's a broad subject.
It's a broad subject.
Yes,
you cannot, I'm not a saint, so it's like very least.
So just a little bit?
Yes.
Okay, go
because there are certain things I ought to do as a father. If I don't do them, then in a way I'm corrupting.
You render yourself corrupt.
Yes.
Okay, please tell our viewers
I'm also, because I've been the chair of Transparency International Uganda, I've been the chair of Anti-Corruption Coalition Uganda, but I've also been an active leader in Development Initiative for Voluntary Associations, DENIVA. I've worked for different organizations. I've been the executive director of FABIO, First African Bicycle Information Organization in Ginger. I have worked.
So you basically operate in the East?
But also at national level. I'm also a transport economist. Because
what does a transport economist do?
I am involved in transport issues, transport management, particularly sustainable transport. You know, so I advise on policy, even on policy of government. I also advise on research because we're carrying out different researches on road safety, on sustainable transport, on bicycle transport in the country, and all those sorts of things. Okay, so I'm also an expert in that because I've been involved in all those sorts of things. But most importantly, I'm very fresh that I'm a politician.
So this first one is a bit, you know?
Yes. Well, it's like I've been, for example, in some bit of leave in the areas of NGO activism.
You stepped back a bit?
A little bit.
That's
you know,
for how
it's like
long?
You couldn't. For 5 years, I've been in politics. You know, being a district chairperson, you are a full-time employee of the citizens of Uganda and Uganda.
Uganda and Uganda.
So you're grappling with issues day and night. Grappling with issues of health, issues of education, issues of roads
and
issues
all
of
that.
welfare,
Communication,
all that.
yes.
So I had to drop a little bit the civil society activism. Stepped back a little bit, so I have not been very actively there because I'm dealing.
Back,
so I stepped a little back, but now I'm going back to it.
But once in service, you always serve, even if you're not there actively. Yes, Patrick.
So I left the district chairperson. I did not run for that post again.
Why?
Because I wanted to look at more challenging issues at national level.
You mean that was not challenging?
Not as much. Not as much. I easily
compared
performed.
to the one you
I easily performed it because I fought corruption in the district quite well. I tried as much as possible to advocate for issues, even at national level.
Okay, Patrick, the politics will be for another day. Let's talk about a little bit of Patrick.
You know it is fresh, so that's why I had to bring it.
Yes. Let's talk about Patrick, the activist, a little bit.
Yeah.
And what you think on what you think of a day like this, Martyrs Day? Because right from primary school, I think it's primary for me. We've been celebrating this day, and I remember those days we used to. Thank you. I remember we used to. That's the only chance, we got to move out of school. The school bus and all that is because it was some kind of relief of the daily routine. It was an exciting moment back then.
Yeah.
But then as you grow to secondary to university. This excitement gradually fades away. Thank you. This excitement gradually fades away, according to me.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. Because as kids, it was an exciting thing. By the way, we celebrated it, not knowing what we were even celebrating. But then back at school, on paper, you know the matters, you list the matters, you know this one was an Anglican, this one was a Catholic. But right now, if you were to ask me for those details, yes, I could have them sketchy ones, but then the zeal that I had back then as a child, okay, though for different motives, is not there right now. What do you think of Martyrs Day yourself? Do you still celebrate Martyrs Day with much fire as you did back then, or did you have much fire back then?
Yes, and I want to thank you so much for that. I want to draw you from a philosophical point of view.
Tell me about it.
You know, whichever activity that is given a lot of clout at national level, it is least recognized at community level.
That's on individual basis.
The individual basis. I want to draw you to even independence a little bit.
Just a little bit. You love the politics so much. Yes, I'm running away from it.
I'm talking about events. The way we used to celebrate independence back then, and the way independence is celebrated now.
Maybe it's because of COVID.
It is more of a national issue.
Maybe it's because of COVID.
It is more of issues of politicians. It is more issues of kololo. You can recall those days.
Maybe it's because of COVID, Patrick.
Each district, each school, apart from it being a public holiday,
it was decentralized.
Right now, even when we talk about matters, during the days then, Martyrs Day wasn't a public holiday. It wasn't a public holiday. It wasn't gazetted as a public holiday. Constitutionally as a public holiday. But right now, it is a constitution. It is a constitutional obligation that it is a public holiday. Before it wasn't. But people were celebrating it.
They enjoyed it.
The
fire you talked about.
The fire.
Did you have it yourself?
Yes. People could think about it. You know, I'm a musician.
You're a musician?
Yes. I used to.
The things
I was part of the school choir. I was part of the church choir in the All Saints Church. Yes. in All Saints Church in CMS. So
Yes,
we
our
would,
dear viewers,
we would,
we're still together with Patrick, who does a lot of things.
we would
He's a
sing.
musician, he's an activist,
Yes.
and he's also here to tell us about what he thinks of Martyrs Day, how much has changed. Yes, Patrick.
We would sing, we would compose a lot of songs.
And you sing them,
we sing them. You know, everybody would come to church. You know, we had that cloud.
The fire was
The
there.
fire was there. Because we attached at that tender age
Value to
a lot
it.
of value. Right now, the value is attached at national level.
So tell me about that. That's the part that I want the most.
You know,
So
it has
it's
been
gone away from the
declared.
community and it has been pushed higher to the national level.
Yes, it's no
Yes.
longer that very critical at community. I'm not talking about COVID time. I've lived a little longer.
Than
And
COVID.
I've been yes, and I've been active in public life and also in private life, but also seeing societal things, you know.
How
So
they've-
that is
how they've
how
gone
they
on
have
changing.
evolved. So you could see a lot of steaming down, you know. Partly also, how do we now understand it?
Yes.
Before it was an issue that was even examinable, you know.
Yes, it was.
Examinable in primary school. So you took time to understand. But also, you
So-
can also bear with me.
Just tell me the bit where it has changed. That particular bit where it has changed. Maybe the why. Why has it changed?
You know, it is a cultural issue. It is more or less a cultural issue in Uganda. Because not anywhere else. It is not only for Muslims or Catholics or Protestants. It became
But we even have people
a
from
religious,
different countries
a
coming
cultural
in.
issue.
Yes, if we
But
didn't
you
have
can
this
also
COVID
bear
issue.
with me that there has been consistent erosion of culture. You know, there is quite a lot of, we are eroding a lot. We are degenerating. People can no longer value such issues we used to value in the past.
So
at the
you
moment.
mean the fact that we've lost, people have somehow lost interest in it?
In values.
Like you said, it's at national level.
Yes.
It's because of the values that we are losing as Africans.
Exactly.
The values that we had before.
Of course, you cannot delineate it from that.
No, you can't, yes.
You know, people are now more industrious. They are thinking about money.
Talk about
They are
that.
thinking about running up and down.
Actually, they are complaining because of COVID, they've not been able to make money.
Exactly.
You know, it's like in the past, before the scientific Martyrs Day
Organizations of
celebrations.
the new normal
You know, we
issues.
have pork there.
Yes.
There's alcohol. There's and other foods as well because of the many people that are coming in
Exactly.
from outside Uganda as well. By the way, yes.
So
and then
you
all
can
these
also
people,
view it from different angles. The people that are in Namugongo, the people that are in Ikireka, the people that are around there.
and there was life there,
Yes,
by the way.
they are
yes.
seeing it from
the
a
clubs
different
were
angle.
hitting, yes.
They are seeing it, and the strong spiritual people are also seeing it like from a different angle. You know, people used to come for spiritual renewal.
And for different interests, yes. Like
Exactly.
you've said, those who have their interests
Yes.
in the spiritual issue.
Yes.
Then me, who wants to do business.
Business.
Yes. Then
You
there's
are
another
also
one who just
saying,
wants to gaze.
chitusaze kati zino matters debiri 2 years zikoze eki tusaliddwa, you know. So I'm also looking at it from culture, from holistic. From a holistic sort of view. There are more private schools now. Before, most of the private schools were actually related to churches.
Sure.
Yes,
The private.
yes, majority, even public schools.
Yes. Maybe the public schools.
You know, you can also bear with me that private schools has come with a lot of it has come with the President Museveni.
Because
You know,
yes.
he privatized education, and then every
But still,
school.
also we have the public.
But almost actually 80% of the public schools were actually affiliated to a religion.
Yes.
Either
To a particular
Catholic
sect.
based
Yes.
or
yes.
Anglican
have the
based.
CMS,
Exactly.
yes.
All those schools, you know, there is that partnership between public and the churches and all that.
Okay, Patrick. Yes, the viewers of CCTV, still message we're going to do together with Patrick, who is taking us through Matters Day, how it has gradually eroded away from the fire that it had in the beginning, where you spoke of Matters Day and you really enjoyed it. Yes, let's take a short commercial break. We shall be right back.
City TV.
We've got you covered.
Welcome back from the short break, our dear viewers. We're still with Patrick, and he's taking us through the dynamics of Matters Day, what you're expected to do, what you used to do, you our viewer, and himself, what he used to do back then, and what he does or what he doesn't do right now because of whatever has happened at the moment. Yes, and I remind you to comment on our videos. Before you comment, you have to subscribe, of course, and you have to remind your neighbor to subscribe as well. This is Talk to Me, and you just tell us what you think of Matters Day, because you could be talking here and there with Patrick, but you have your own opinion of it. You can share with us in our comments right down there.
Yeah.
Yes, Patrick.
Yeah, I was trying to explain to you why there has been increased erosion.
Yes.
Of Matters Day. You know, it's like it's no longer having that clout it used to have in the countryside. You know, I was explaining to you that before then, all schools were related to particular churches, and you know it was incumbent on church. It was
particular religious sect.
Exactly. It was a Christian, sort of like an issue that every school definitely had to celebrate, had to understand,
because
had to internalize.
Like a school is built on a particular foundation.
Exactly. Due to the foundation, but you can also bear with me that with the liberalization of education, we have seen so many private schools mushrooming, and therefore even the values in the private schools have also a little bit shifted.
Should we still relate this to Matters Day?
Yes, you talked about the cloud. You know, this is the educational setup. All of us understood Matters Day from school.
Okay, speaking of schools,
Yes.
let's talk names.
Yes.
Of schools.
Exactly.
Yes,
Even schools.
some of them were named after.
Exactly.
I won't mention them.
After the saints.
Yes.
Like
After the
Kizito
Matters,
we have Mawagali,
Uh-huh.
Saint Noah Mawagali, all that. But that is also dying a little bit. It's no longer
but these
as
are
it
very
used to
good
be.
schools.
They are.
Why do you say it's dying?
They are not as many as they used to be.
We
Because
still
you
have
know,
the schools.
because the orientation, when you, for you to be named a particular name, it depends on what you believe. Like for me, I'm called Kayemba because I'm from a Lions clan.
But you're not a matter.
I'm not a matter. You get it? But if I have lineage, for example, I'm a strong Catholic, I'm a strong Anglican myself. But if I was a strong Catholic, I would definitely, there are a number of values.
But then we have the
within
Anglican
Catholic.
matters and then
Yes,
the
exactly.
Catholic.
I don't rule that out.
Yes.
So before you would see quite a number of people that are named, that are actually yearning to have those names.
Yes, that was for the schools,
Yes,
Patrick. Now you're
but
taking me
also
to what
for
one of the-
individuals.
Yes, they were given names back then. But right now, personally, I don't have any matter amongst my children. So nowadays when...
But you have a religion. You're either an Anglican
yes,
or a Catholic.
but I don't have... Maybe a Muslim.
Maybe a Muslim
But I
also.
don't have a matter amongst my children.
yes.
That's the point. So I was saying, we've talked of the schools where they were named after these matters, the Charles Rangas and all that. But you also have those individuals that you've talked about. Lately, when we are giving children names, according to what I have observed, when we are giving the children names, we no longer follow that, you know. Is it because of this erosion that you're still talking about? Because when we go to church, to have attended some baptisms, and then you go and the priest is like, I'm not going to include that name on the baptism card. So you're asked to choose a name, or they get you a name of a saint or a martyr. Because of these other names, is it still because of the erosion? Because we pick names from movies, from books, but these have no attachment at all with let's say, in this particular case, these matters that we are talking about. What do you have to say about that?
Sure. It is still all about changes in society. And all that goes with the modernization and globalization.
Is it a good thing?
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
Why?
Because every country, every society has an identity. And it is that identity that make a brand.
But we attribute the identity to the surnames.
Yeah, but
like your Gavamukuria, Mr.
Yes,
Gavamukuria.
yes, you're increasingly seeing people that are disregarding surnames. Yes.
Okay, they don't mention them when they're introducing themselves,
exactly.
But they always have them on their birth certificate.
The whatever, and it ends there.
The masses.
Yes, the masses, and it ends all there. And you know, and like for example, I got to know you as Mercy. You know, as your first name, as if that was the name that was given to you first.
I'm Mercy Chigundu.
You would have mentioned Chigundu, then Mercy comes
I've
next.
always mentioned this.
But you know, we have adopted to a culture, and for me, I have refused that. I have always said my first name is Kayemba because that's my identity. Patrick can be a Protestant, can be a Catholic. You know,
Patrick can even be.
Can even be an animal or something, or a dog or something.
Or a dog,
yes,
true.
but you cannot see Kayembe a dog.
Very true.
You know, that identity. So there has been a lot of erosion of our identity. We try as much as possible to embrace what we may call in quotes modernity.
Modernity,
you know,
yes.
We are looking at all these as ancient, you know, which is quite unfortunate of our culture and quite unfortunate of our society. We want to behave as if we are either Bazungu or something like that. And when you are actually named against, or you are named after a matter like that, for example, Apollo Kagwa and all of that,
Charles Strong and all that.
You may think
very
that
much,
is
Patrick.
more ancient, you know, and you want to.
But
be
then
more
it has value
that
in it.
cultural
Yes.
attachment. That it, because matters is only
Maybe the people with those names can endure tough situations.
Well, that is also one thing.
Is it?
Because for every name, there is an attachment.
But are they?
There is an explanation about
those
the
few that you have made.
No, yes.
How is their personality?
Sometimes, yes.
Sometimes.
The Kayembas
you say that yourself.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yes. It's
Thank
not
you,
universal.
Yes, our dear viewers, we're still with Patrick. We are still talking Martyrs Day. And on a sad note, we are now celebrating it without our Archbishop.
Yes.
The Catholics,
apparently,
yes.
yes.
That's very sad. We should keep on praying for him. Yes, for his soul to, rest in peace.
Because what I know is that over time, Namugongo was like an ordinary church place, church place, without any.
And with these
anything.
inventions, yes.
And what we can remember from Bishop Luanga and Bishop Nkoyoyo, they are both deceased.
By the way, even Bishop Nkoyoyo.
They actually put together an ideology, a thinking, a concept that would add a lot of value to Namugongo. And I'm happy about the country. The country actually embraced it.
And changes were made in a very short time. Very good ones, by the way, in terms
now,
of
when
infrastructure.
you reach Namugongo and you were there 10 years or so, you may actually see this is a
for us, the
different place.
villagers.
The villagers like me, from Iganga, deep
Okay.
So I want to say yes. Celebrating matters depends on the cultural attachment that you have.
Okay, you also talked about the spiritual. Now that we are celebrating in the scientific way, because we can't help it. Yes, we don't have. Yes, we can devise means to get through it, but then we don't have control over this COVID issue. It's God that is going to help us out of it. Yes. Now that we are celebrating the scientific way, of course, we know that people have been limited. They cannot freely access that place right now in Namugongo. So they will have to celebrate in their,
their homes.
Yes, their homes and some in their different areas of residence.
And for us, we are celebrating it also.
And we are also here celebrating. Yes. How is that feel? If you talked about the spiritual person that has not got access to Namugongo today, do you think that they have celebrated Martyrs Day the way they would have wanted to?
Martyrs Day is associated to suffering.
Suffering and endurance.
Suffering and endurance.
Yes, and reminding us that the more you endure, is the more you get to that perfect
and
place.
achieve
Yes.
what you want.
Yes. That's why I asked you if the matters
Exactly. Many people have not been able because people were trekking from even as far as Kenya
Very much so. I
to
remember
sumo
that, yes.
and from
They
cabaret,
reach with
from
swollen
pool,
feet,
and,
but then they
you know,
still keep going.
because of that endurance as a symbol. And in return, they would have that satisfaction, that spiritual satisfaction. And sometimes when they kneel down and pray,
And the holy water,
and the holy
they
water,
get those miracles.
exactly.
Yes, I've
Sometimes
witnessed
when
some.
they kneel down and pray with that endurance, they actually get what they are praying for. Because I've had
After all, you've
seen-
moved from Mbarara,
Yes,
you've
yes.
moved from Gulu
Yes.
to
My
Kampala.
personal belief is that you do not need to trek.
You don't need to trek.
Personal belief that you may not need
You
to trek,
may not need.
to trek long distances to show endurance. You
So they
can
should be
actually
contented at home.
endure through different mechanisms.
How?
For example, you can even decide to fast.
To fast, yes. That's also part of endurance.
Exactly, it's part of endurance.
You can choose to forgive
You can
the person
choose
that you found,
that
you know.
you have that
Yes,
hunger in you, then you say, let me endure and forgive.
If the martyrs endured the fire,
Yes, let me
and they
endure.
kept on praising, yes?
Yes, let me endure and forgive this child or this neighbor, who has been fighting with me over land.
It's also,
fighting with
yes,
me
it can
over
also substitute
something
the
different.
trekking,
Let
yes.
me endure. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of thinking for you to forgive.
You can even
also
choose to walk to
endure.
church.
Exactly. You can also
For the
endure
mass,
by walking to church. You can also decide to say, I am going to clean the church. You clean the church, you are tired, but you say, no, I must clean this
You
church even if I am
donate.
alone.
You donate.
You can endure to donate. You squeeze your economy. You squeeze your soul.
Where you have to pay fees,
Well,
but you
yes.
consider a child in church first.
Exactly.
One that is not your relative
exactly.
by blood.
So you can, under the new normal, we would have mentioned this before Martyrs Day like today. But all the same, it's not too late to do the right thing.
Very true.
So you can be able, now that we are under the new normal, the whole setup has been changed. In the world, not in Uganda
In the
alone,
world, yes,
but in
yes.
the entire world. We know with our prayers and with the martyrs, we will overcome this.
Yes, we are getting used to the scientific way of doing things.
We are
yes.
doing things in a scientific way. I don't know how scientific this is.
It's very scientific.
But in an adaptation way, where we can be able now to do things without compromising quality and compromising the original benefit. We do things in the alternative ways.
Okay.
We
have to keep to the original, but then
Yes.
we adapt to what is
Exactly.
on currently.
That's what, if
After
we are
it's
talking about
worldwide.
endurance, if we are talking about memorable, we are memorizing how these people really suffered.
No, Patrick, we really have a lot to talk about
Yes, we
this
really have.
Matters Day, the
Exactly,
scientific
exactly.
one, the one that we
Exactly.
had before. Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you very much for honoring my invite.
You're welcome.
Yes, and our viewers, I thank you for subscribing to our channel. If you have anything to share with us regarding Matters Day, just put your comments right down there. I'm Masi Chigundu for the Talk to Be Show.
And
Thank you,
this
Patrick.
is Patrick Kayemba Gavambulia. I'm happy to have been hosted. I would have spoken, you would have spoken the last. You'd be the last and I would be the least. But I want to thank you for hosting me and for hosting and bringing out such topical issues for people who alternatively decide to actually watch our City TV. And I
Thank
want
you,
to promise
Patrick.
that I will be available to share with you my insights. I'm not the most clever, the most bright, no.
But you can
to
share that
the
with us,
alternative
yes.
thinking with you viewers on different topical
Yes,
issues.
Patrick. Thank
I
you
wish
very
the
much.
best.
Yes.